Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Snow. Today we'll be doing Magic the Gathering top 10 ice cards in all the Magic world. So now, at number 10. And the first one on our list is ICEFALL Regent from Dragons of Tarkir or Arch Enemy Nicole Bolas. It's a rare with an average price of 45 cents at the time of this video. And when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap its controller untaps it as long as you control ICEFALL. So for 5 mana, 4/3 flyer dragon, that's really cool. And on top of that, it says spells your opponents cast that target ICEFALL cost 2 more to cast. So that's an addition, and this is only at number 10. So let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have Icequake. It's from Ice Age, uncommon with an average price of 44 cents. I like this one because, well, it says destroy target land. And you don't typically see that with black anymore, so if that land is snow-covered land, it deals 1 damage to the target land's controller. Again, this was Ice Age, so there were snow-covered lands, which makes sense at the time. This is why it's at number 9, because it basically destroys target land, and it's a cool card from the black perspective. So let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have Ice Cave from Apocalypse or The List. It's a rare going just for 52 cents on the market, and I personally love this card from Apocalypse. It says whenever a player plays a spell, any other player may play that spell's mana cost. If that player does, counter that spell. So it does have a bit of control. It does cost 5 mana to put into play, and I just like the picture and the saying, basically in general, and this is why it's at number 8. So let's move on to number 7. We have Ice Cauldron from Ice Age. It's a rare with an average price of $3.33, and it is actually on the reserve list as most, or I guess, common cards from this era. Basically, it says put a charge counter on it and put a spell card face up on the cauldron. Note the type and the amount of mana used to pay this activation cost. Use this ability only if there are no charge counters on the Ice Cauldron. So already this is starting to get a little complicated. You may play that spell card as though it was in your hand. Remove the charge counters. Costs 4 mana, so it has that versatility, but that's why it's at number 7. So let's move on to number 6. Which we have is On Thin Ice from Modern Horizons. It's a rare, just with an average price of $1.26. And this one is really cool because it only costs 1 mana, and it is a snow enchantment, if it matters to you. On top of that, it says enchant snow land you control. When it enters the battle, exile target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So this is very cool, as most cards like this would cost 3 or 4. This only costs 1. Like you just need snow lands. It's an easy peasy. So let's move halfway down our list to number 5. We got Thing in the Ice. Well, this one is from Shadows over Innistrad. It's a rare, going for $10. And I'm debating whether to put this at 5, but you know it just is, because it does cost 2 mana for the 0/4 with Defender, with only 4 ice counters on it. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery card, which is very easy, remove an ice counter and then transform it, which would turn into a 7/8 Awoken Horror. Transforms, return all non-horror creatures to their owner's hand. So I feel like this maybe should have been at 3, but I honestly think at 5, there's many more things you can do between then and there, unless you are building an instant sorcery deck. So let's move on to number 4. Where we got is Tendo Ice Bridge from Betrayers of Kamigawa or The List. It's a rare going just for $2.78 on the market with the average price. Comes into play with a charge counter, so it doesn't come into play tapped, so that's very impressive. You add 1 to your mana pool of colorless, or remove a charge counter for 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is definitely a must-have, especially if you're playing a multicolor deck, because removing it and it doesn't come to play tapped is something that you can use right away, and this is why it's at number 4. Better than the Thin Ice card. So let's move on to number 3. ICE-FANG COATL is from Modern Horizons, or believe it or not, it's on the list as well. It's a rare going just for under $5. It does have flash, so as you guys know, I'm a very big fan of that. For a force, and now let's get that 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. That's really cool with a flyer, only second turn. And it has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents. And that is very easy because it does cost 2 mana, so by that time you can play your 3rd snow covered permanent, and boom, it has Death Touch. You draw a card, flash, it's You can't beat that with a forest and an island creature. So let's move on to number 2, which is Ice Storm from various early sets, kind of like, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, all that stuff. So it's uncommon, just going for under $100. I personally love this card. This is one of my favorite cards in all of Magic, so I am putting it at number 2 because it does say destroy any one land in play. And this is a green card, so this is a very impressive card. I personally like it, again, because it's not even the red, which costs typically 4 mana to destroy some land. And even got Sinkhole. I just feel like this is different. I really like this card. And this is why it's at number 2. It's simple, it's easy, and it's been done by that great artist, Dan Fraser. But let's move on to number 1. And you must know by this card by now from Magic if you play it, Sword of Fire and Ice. It's from various sets. Started off as rare and then turned into mythic with an average price of $56.74 on the market. It does cost 3 colors for this card. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Has protection from red and blue, so that's really cool, especially bounce and burn. And when it deals combat damage to player, it deals 2 damage to any target and you draw a card. And it has equipped too. Not much more to say about this card. This is like an ultimate god card. All the swords like this are. This is why it does have ice in it. So I say this is the best ice card in all the Magic world. It's playable, it's doable. Everything about it is great. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.